This is the EWN Podcast Network.
Ever wondered how you could turn your side hustle into a full-time gig and spend more time together?
Hi, I'm Vicki, a #1 best-selling author.
And I'm John, a retired Los Angeles police officer. Welcome to Dig the Well, where we help couples navigate the world of business.
We've been married for 35 years, and because we built a successful side business, John retired 9 years earlier than he originally planned from the Los Angeles Police Department after 25 years on the job. Now we spend more time together, and we want to help couples like you do the same.
Join us as we help you overcome common obstacles, and we show you how to make extra income without sacrificing family time.
Ready to dig deep and build your well? Let's get started. Hello, hello. Welcome back to Dig the Well. We're excited to be with you today.
Yeah.
Yes. And today's topic is going to be not allowing outside influences, outside world noise, things that happen in your life, cause you to allow that to derail your business, basically. Yeah. For lack of a more concise title. Because we wanted to talk about several things that we've been noticing popping up with the business owners that we coach on a regular basis, daily, weekly, and we thought it was really important to bring that up to all y'all.
Yeah, because oftentimes we find people it's almost like they're looking for an excuse not to build their business. And it's kind of weird if you think about it as a job. If you were your own boss, or if you just worked for a company, and you got up in the morning and thought, I don't think I'm gonna go to work. It's a little cloudy out this morning, or it's not cloudy enough this morning, or whatever the reason, right? And you just found some excuse not to go into work, and you did it over and over again, you probably wouldn't find yourself employed there very much longer. Yet when you own your own business, you don't fire yourself.
Right. And you should sometimes. Give yourself a timeout or something to snap yourself out of it. Yeah.
I think it's so easy to do. It's almost like that slippery slope.
Yeah.
You after you've done it once or twice, it's like, well, that was easy.
Right.
Nobody even yelled at me.
Right. Nobody noticed I wasn't making calls. Nobody noticed I wasn't following up. Yeah. It's kind of scary.
Sure. And the sad thing is, if you didn't go to work a couple of times, it's really probably not going to affect your income very much. Just if you just missed a few times, right? Use that excuse, whatever, your grandmother died again, or the cat got run over for the 8th time. But if you bail out on your own business, it affects you, right? It affects your income. It affects your business, the growth of your business.
Momentum. If you've started to create some momentum.
Oh yeah. If you have momentum and you lose it, try getting that back again.
Yeah.
Right. So once you have it, you certainly don't want to lose it. We can talk more about that later.
Yeah.
But and then the other thing it does is it tells everyone in your organization the commitment level you have. That you don't even treat your business as a legitimate, like real business that you're bailing out on it all the time. So how do you expect other people then to follow you? Or if you're in a business where you're recruiting and trying to help people build their own businesses too, how do you really think that you're going to find that person that's going to be really motivated and want to build and grow their business, and then you have you as a mentor if you're kind of cheesing out on it?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So let's talk about a couple of key topics that we've been hearing a lot of in our coaching. And I think number one right now is still, and it seems crazy to me, but it's still the tariffs. If we want to be totally current, people are still going wonky. That's not the right word. Going bonkers. And letting that affect how they run their business on a daily basis. And to us, that's insanity. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Well, it's been like a month and a half since the president announced that they were going to increase tariffs. And at that time, there was a lot of uncertainty. There was no talk about the specific countries or how much it was going to be. And it was later revealed. But either way, I mean, we don't have control over that.
Right. Yeah.
And is it going to affect your business? It may not. Probably not. If people would just take a deep breath and just like breathe through their noses and just calm down, let it play out. There's a plan involved in this. That those massively high tariffs were unsustainable. And I think everyone knew that. And if everyone would just calm down and let it play out, it's playing out now. And it's like I said, it's been about a month and a half.
Right.
And it's actually playing out for the better. Things are looking up. Things are looking so much better. And the tariffs are getting more under control. The thing that I don't like, and I've already seen it, and I saw this during COVID, and it was kind of a pet peeve of mine, and I think it's really unethical, is people raise their prices, and they're raising their prices using the tariffs as an excuse. And I've seen it already where someone says, oh, because of tariffs, it's going to cost more. And so I asked them specifically, what do you buy from China? What parts are you buying to make your product from a foreign country that you're having to pay an additional tariff to have those parts? And can you source them from somewhere else?
Like in the US, for example.
Find out they don't source any of their products from a country that's carrying a high tariff. So that's just nothing more than an excuse to raise their prices,
Price gouge.
right?
Yeah,
exactly.
totally.
It's just a money grab, and they did that during COVID. And if you remember, after those prices went up, skyrocketed during COVID, when we got past that nonsense and got back to work and got things back online and got our supply chains back going. And sure, it isn't the same as what it was pre-pandemic, but it was much better than when it was during the pandemic. But even when we got those back together again, and prices should have come down and could have come down, they haven't.
Right.
Prices still remain high. And I think the people who are raising their prices and using tariffs as an excuse just to grab money and gouge people, I doubt seriously. And you know what? I'll challenge you. If you're watching this and you've raised your prices because of tariffs and you had to, okay, I get it.
Yeah, definitely.
If you didn't, shame on you.
Right.
But no matter what, when everything calms down and those tariffs aren't an issue, and your source of whatever it is that you need to buy offshore, when those prices come down, you better lower your prices back to where they were.
Yeah, I agree. I
hope you do. And I have faith that some people will. But I think overall, we're going to see industry-wide companies and people, small businesses, whatever, they're going to raise their prices, use tariffs as an excuse, and then not lower them.
Right. So the main thing to us is like, keep doing business as usual. Stop worrying about things that you're not in control of, right? That's always been our motto too. Mm-hmm. Raising our kids, when they would worry about something, I remember you telling us, especially in the kids, that if you can't control it, what's the point of worrying about it? Right. And a lot of you are sitting there worrying, and you're not doing the daily tasks that you should be doing for your business to make it grow, make the cash register ring, and you're blowing it. Yeah. Snap out of it.
And there are things you can't control. Let's say you're still stuck on the whole tariff thing. Well, there are things you can do that is in your control. Look for other sources. Look for ways to buy things that may not be affected by a higher tariff, right, if in fact that's the case.
Right, exactly. So just, had to put that to rest.
Focus on what you can control.
Right, exactly. And just have faith that it's all going to work out in the end. If you're sitting there believing, oh, it's doomsday, our country's going to hell in a handbasket, you know what? You could be part of the problem of making that happen. But if you have a positive mindset that it's all going to work out, there's a reason behind everything, then things are going to go better, right? So let's all get on that bandwagon. Whether you voted for the president or not, that's totally not part of the equation, in my opinion. And let's talk about presidents. That's the other thing.
But make no mistake about it. Yeah. It isn't just a Trump thing with tariffs.
Right.
It's every president. It's every president for many, many presidents, Democrat, Republican, it doesn't matter. They've all been for tariffs.
Right.
It's just that the problem is we've always been on the wrong end of the foreign trade negotiations, and our tariff deals are ridiculous. What we charge on tariffs is just is so small compared to what other countries are charging us. Right. It's about time we just get to a fair tariff system.
Exactly. So when it comes to presidents, let's talk about that. And we're not going to say who we voted for. We've made that clear on other episodes, but and who we didn't vote for, and all of that. But we've been in business a very long time. You were 16. And I actually probably should have counted, but it's probably even Steven. It's probably 3 or 4 Democrats that have been in office when we've been in business, and 3 or 4 Republicans, right? We're not in control of that. And there's been times we weren't happy with the presidential choice, and we still carry on our business, right? We do what we can do. And so, yeah, I heard another great business coach, Sandra Yancey, talk about that several times. And it's so true. It is so true. So stop worrying about who's in office. It doesn't control your bottom line. You control your bottom line. It's in your hands.
Control your bottom line.
So
yeah, and I was just going to bring up a point, just something I just thought about when you're speaking is, I remember when I was really little, there was a presidential election, or watching it on TV, saw the results, and the result didn't go the way my mom, or at least my dad, had voted or wanted, right? And I remember he was kind of bummed, but I remember that he told me, he goes, well, we'll have to wait another 4 years and see if if we get who we want to get in. But in the meantime, he said, I'm going to support the new president. And he did. And he was very, it wasn't his choice, but it was America's choice, so to speak. The man won. And so my dad was very supportive. What happened with that? Why?
yeah,
I don't see that so much. I don't see people that, if their candidate, whether it's president, Congress, Senate, any elected official, if their favorite elected official doesn't win, if that candidate loses, then they get like almost combative. They get they protest everything. They can't support anything that winning candidate does.
right.
I don't understand that.
I don't either.
I get it. It's going to be 4 years where you're not going to be happy, but make the best of the 4 years.
Right. And there have been 4 years when we haven't been happy other times, right?
But I still,
like throughout our lives.
And we've supported whomever was sitting in office every time.
Every time. Yeah. And my parents.
Really, go ahead.
I was just going to say my parents too. Same
Yeah.
thing. Like I knew who they voted for. They weren't happy, but you didn't hear bad mouthing. You didn't hear them fighting with friends at dinner parties. I mean, it's getting out of control.
Or wishing for them to fail.
Right.
That's the other thing. It's shocking
that doesn't
to
make
me.
sense.
Yeah, it shocks me that there's this one side now wants everything to fail, right? The left wants everything the right's doing to fail. And I don't get that. I mean, if I were on the left, I would say, no, I don't want it to fail. I want our country to prosper.
Yeah.
I want Trump and his administration to thrive and succeed and do what's right for our country, whether I voted for him or not. Same with when Obama was in office. Whether I voted for him or not, I was hoping that he was going to make change for the country and do the right thing and be the best president he could possibly be.
Totally. So it's nuts. And if I could say you're hurting your business, not if I could say, I'm going to say, you are hurting your business if you are making it so known that you feel a certain way politically, to the world, on social media, especially. Let's just say that, because guess what? You're cutting off half the country that doesn't agree with you.
Yeah.
So you're cutting off half of your potential customers because you're bad mouthing whichever side that you don't care for. Again, we don't do that in our business. We don't talk religion either. I mean, I do post a little, but I post about my God now and then with a quote from the Bible. But I also encourage anytime I do a training that all religions are welcome, and they are. Anyway, it's absolute insanity that the disagreements, the fights, the bickering, the loss of friendships.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Yeah. I saw something on TV where they were showing, I forget what program I was watching, but they were talking about how families have split up over the presidential election outcome in November, where for Thanksgiving, families that have traditions of showing up, and having Thanksgiving at one family member's household. That family member told the family that voted for Trump that they were no longer invited and they were not welcome at their home anymore.
Yeah, I remember Obama days. People would do that too.
Yeah,
Obama days that was happening. People are like,
shocking.
I want nothing to do with you because you voted for Obama. Yeah, both sides all the time. It's so crazy.
A lot of our close friends.
Yeah,
they're on the other side of the fence than we are.
Yeah.
That's okay. We still love them. They're still our friends, and we don't like getting we sometimes we'll bring up the subject, which we shouldn't, right? But I don't think we do. Somehow the subject gets brought up, and we get into kind of a pretty good discussion, right? But it's healthy.
It is healthy,
right? No one's punching anyone. No one's getting anybody in a headlock. Police are not being called. We just respect where they're at.
Both sides.
And we hope they respect where we're coming from, and we can talk about it. And then sometimes I think, yeah, they got a pretty good point.
Yeah, totally.
Right. But anyways, we don't fight, and we don't, like Vic was saying, those are just very, very close friends of ours, and very close friends. Other than that, we keep that out of our business as much as possible. We keep it out of our business because like Vic said, we know that we're going to alienate half of the population, and that's not what we want. We want our business to thrive and prosper, and that means we want this to touch and reach everyone.
Yeah, and we become also friends with our customers, our clients, and I don't want to ostracize that friendship, if is that the right way to phrase. But yeah, I love our friends, and no matter how they believe, I love them all. And so, yeah, it is absolutely insane. It's insane. So if you're letting that hurt your business, stop that. Stop it. Put your opinions off the table. Right? Seriously. And let's all work together and have a great country, a great world, a great life. Seriously. So, okay. So that's that. We also wanted to talk about other things that can derail your business, including health issues, losing family members, losing a pet that is a family member that could derail you running your business for a time, and then before you know it, you're not plugging back into your business at all. And we recently had that happen. Do you want to talk about it? Yeah. I don't want to start to cry.
So this just happened. We had to euthanize our dog. It's actually our daughter's dog, Misa, but it ended up we kidnapped him and wouldn't return him to me. So he was our hostage, right?
During COVID, right? When she had to come back for a year or two.
Yeah. So what happened was we had a big dog, right? We had that big Akita, and he and this little Shiba Inu, which is like a mini Akita. They got to be the best of friends. So we ended up with the Akita first, and our daughter went out and got the Shiba Inu. And because for that reason, that he was like an Akita, but the Akita was just too big for her in an apartment to have. Right. So she had him, but they ended up being buddies. They went everywhere together. And so he spent a lot of time here. And especially like Vic said, during a period in COVID, Misa had come back home for a little bit, and then she moved back out to an apartment, but the apartment didn't allow pets where she's at Dana Point. Right. So we said,
stay with us. Yay!
We're keeping him. So we kept that little guy. And about 2.5 years ago, the Akita got to the point where he was just really old and his body was starting to fail him. So unfortunately, we had to put him down. And that was pretty tough.
Really tough.
Yeah, it was really tough. And then we've had the little Shiba since then,
Tanky.
Yeah. And over Mother's Day weekend, well, anyways, he... we noticed he wasn't feeling right. Took him to the vet, and it turns out that he wasn't going to survive what he had.
It was terminal.
And it was just a matter of about 24 hours.
And excruciatingly painful for him.
Yeah. So tough decision was made, and of course that was our daughter's decision to make, because technically, legally, he's hers. So and it was tough. We had the entire family here at the house, and we had a vet come out to the house and perform a service for that. It's really cool. They do a really good job with that.
Can I just say that this might make me cry, but that's great family, because we let our son and daughter-in-law know, and our son-in-law, and they rushed out. Yeah. They dropped everything to come out and see him before he passed. Yeah, that's true family. So anyway, I just had to throw that. That made me feel like so happy for Tank. Mm-hmm. He was so loved. Yeah. Yeah, sure. So yeah, sorry. So
sure. Anyway, so this vet comes out to the house and does what they have to do for that. And it was just it was very nice. It was a nice send off. And it was tough, right? Because then we're dealing with all the emotions of it, and with everybody in the family too, having to tackle this thing. It's not pleasant. but we didn't stop our business.
Right.
I think you still had,
I
think
still
you still had
Zooms to
Zoom
be
meetings.
on. Yeah, meetings to go to. I had
Yeah.
the meeting we found out. I had a Neora Future of Filler sip and sample that night, and I still went. I didn't have anyone that I could replace me, do it for me.
Yeah.
But people were gracious there. I told a couple people, not everybody. That's the other thing the reason I'm throwing it in is you don't have to tell everybody.
Probably shouldn't.
Yeah, exactly. Just tell a few of your closest friends, which that's what we did, and they will help you get through. And our friends did. They have completely helped us get through.
Yeah.
Well, we're still going through it, but missing him every day.
Yeah, it's tough because I keep thinking, he's going to be in his little bed, and I look over to his little bed and he's not there, and I realize,
before the podcast, we were getting all set up for today, and I heard a noise, and I was like, Tanky, I was going to tell him, we're going to do the podcast, because we always tell him. And if you go back to past podcasts, you'll see his little white tail behind us. He walk behind, he would sit here. Yeah, that'll be fun if you want to go back and watch the beginning episode.
Sure you'll see. But anyways, the point we're trying to make is, and especially if you lose like a loved one that's not your pet, but actually a family member, a close friend, someone that's really close to you. I get it. It's tough. And there's a time to grieve and mourn. Yeah. But there's also, you also can't let that be an excuse not to stay focused on your business.
To use my dance background, the show must go on. Your life has to go on. The people that are living and your business has to go on. Yeah. Yeah, it's not easy. And if you're going through that, we're sending out huge hearts to all of you. I lost my dad it's going to be 3 years, June 10th. Holy cow, that's crazy. But that stopped me in my tracks for like a second, but then it didn't, because I heard my dad's voice. And I think that's what we're doing with Tanky too. I heard my dad's voice saying, keep being the light, Vic. Keep being the light. And so, because that's one of the last things he said to me. Now I'm getting to cry about my dad. But, instead of, just wallowing in the sorrow, I wanted to make my dad proud, just like little Tank. I know he doesn't want us wallowing in our sorrow. Yeah. He's up in heaven with Kuma, dancing, playing together, right? Yeah. And looking down, we're the ones in pain.
Yeah, I think any loved one would rather see you thrive. Right? Yeah. I think they want to see you prosper. I've used that word. They use those two words a lot in this podcast, but they really do. They don't want to see you, being Eeyore and just moping around. I don't think that would make anyone happy. I mean, I know when I go, I would want the people I leave behind happy.
Right. 100%. And I know your dad's watching over. We've always known your dad because we lost John's dad when I first met him. We first started dating. 6 months later, we lost your dad, and he was 52, super young. Now we're older than, that hits home. We're older by a lot. And we had that conversation when we hit 52. So any other 52-year-olds out there, hello. When we hit that, remember, we're like, oh my gosh, it was crazy that your dad left us at such a young age. Yeah. But you didn't let that stop you. You're, window tinting, then on to Prestige Motoring Accessories. That drove you, I feel like, to show him while he's watching from heaven, all that you could do. Yeah. So that's what we want to challenge you. If you're going through a health scare, a health challenge, could be life or death. You could have cancer. There's a lot of people hurting right now. We're with you. We're praying for you. Hopefully you have a business where it can keep going without you. If you don't, contact us, because that's the other great thing about not trying to put a plug for Neora, but that is a great reason to have a direct sales business is it can go while you're in the hospital, you're getting better. Like our business, we could have stepped away from Neora if we needed to. And actually there was a day or two where I was hardly answering any emails, any texts, and my leaders had my back. And that was so amazing to know that I didn't have to step right back in the day that tanky passed away,
Yeah.
So
There have been so many testimonials from people in that business, or they'll be invited on stage at one of the conferences, and they'll just tell their story, and oftentimes it's, gosh, I can't even count how many stories are similar in the sense that they went through something very traumatic, whether it was them personally or someone very close to them. And it took them out of the game for an extended period of time, for months at a time. Like some of them were, like Vic was saying, in the hospital recovering from something very serious. And while they were in the hospital, their business didn't skip a beat. And it wasn't because they were on the phone or they're on Zooms. They're in no condition to do that. It's the people in their business that stepped up and helped them.
It kept going.
But so, like Vic said earlier, that's one of the reasons why you want to be in a direct sales business. But here's the caveat to that whole thing is you have to be in the right direct sales business, because not every direct sales business is going to do that for you. That is so true. That is very, very true.
But traditional business, hopefully you have an office staff that will carry on while you're getting better. That is a tougher one, though.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if many people really plan for that, right? You don't even, I don't know how many people think about that.
Yeah,
exactly. What would happen if if God forbid, right? We certainly don't want this to happen to anyone, but what if something happened to you where you were, off your feet for 6, 9 months, 12 months?
Would your business carry on? Yeah.
Yeah. Would your job still be there? I know some people, they may be at risk of losing their job or being reassigned or being demoted or something to something else. I don't know.
Yeah, we didn't mean for this to go this way, but it would be smart to have multiple streams of income.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, and something that's protected, like we were saying, the right direct sales business that you've invested your time and your effort in, and to build an organization of people who care and who will step in and step up and step in the gap and help you.
Right.
I think that's important, because that's like, gosh, that's some of the, you can't buy insurance for almost that, right?
Yeah, exactly. I was starting to think, what could you could have long-term care, right? But that's the medical side. What about bringing money in? Yeah. You need, there is no insurance for bringing money in like that. I guess workers' comp.
I'm sure there's something, but it would be horrendously expensive.
Yeah.
So if you build the right business, you can do that, and it doesn't cost you anything.
Right. Yeah.
Should you have to lean on that portion of it?
I was thinking that you're not paying the people that are helping you to keep your business going. It's just what they do. It's part of the whole plan, the whole direct sales model. Yeah, exactly. So, well, yeah.
That's interesting. I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah, I know. It's we've got a lot of people in our personal business right now. We have one of our key leaders is in July going to have some massive surgery. I don't want to get into the details of her surgery, but we know that she's working her business May, June. She knows she's going to have to step away, but all of us are aware. We're ready. The system is in place to carry on while she gets better. We have another one in Rochester.
And you're going to continue working to build her business.
Right. Yeah. And
while she's recovering. Yeah.
Yeah. In Rochester, New York is having back surgery, same kind of thing, where she's going to be out for a while, might be able to do a few phone calls if she feels like it. But
what's really cool about this too is they didn't ask for the help. They didn't come and beg on their hands and knees, hey, can you help me with my business? It's that once you find out that they're going to be going through something like this, it's a nice way to support them. How big is the thing about it? If you're going, most people who go through something like that, like a surgery or like a terrible illness, they get a lot of people that support them and pray for them, which is wonderful, right? That's what you want. You want people to support you and pray for you. Maybe bring over a casserole.
I was going to say some meals.
But this is help that goes beyond that.
Yeah.
Right. This is help that's going to keep money coming into their household, to their families, keeps the lights on, keeps the bills being paid, keeps the roof over their house. There's not people mean well when they offer support, but how many people actually say, hey, look, I'm going to make sure that your mortgage gets paid for the next 6 months?
Like nobody.
Yeah, because most people are struggling to pay their own bills, to be honest, right? So as much as they would probably like to help, and do that. Wouldn't it be nice if you could just tell your friend, hey, look, I got your mortgage for the next year. You don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
But honestly, how many people are in that position to be able to do that, even if they wanted to, which I think a lot of people do want to.
Right.
But this is that kind of help. They don't have to ask for it, but you're going to step in. There's going to be a ton of other leaders that are going to step in and say, hey, don't worry about it. Your business is covered. We got you.
Right.
Right. Isn't that cool?
I know. It's very, very cool. Yeah.
Without having to ask.
I know.
And expect anything in return.
No, exactly. It's a total gift. Yeah. So, well, and I think that's the main three things we wanted to cover today. That, if you're letting something hold you back, in, the tariffs, who the president is, a health issue, or losing a pet or family member, I don't want to say snap out of it. That was going to be what I was going to say.
Just stop making excuses to turn your back on your own business.
Yes.
Right?
That's right.
If you want to have a business, you want to run your business, run it.
Right.
Be a businessman, be a businesswoman, be that person that's going to say, hey, look, come hell or high water, I'm building this thing.
Exactly. And ask,
I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, and ask for help if you do need it.
Yeah.
But exactly. Carry on.
Yeah.
Carry on.
You'll respect you. People will respect you, but you'll respect yourself.
Yeah. And there's nothing more important than that. I don't think. I think you do need to respect yourself.
Well, cinnamon bears are pretty good.
All right. We hope you love this. Please share this episode with a friend or colleague. If you feel that they're struggling, share a previous episode. We'd love to have you do that, and leave us a review, leave us a comment on YouTube or Rumble, and we will see you on the next one. Yeah. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining us on Dig the Well.
We hope you feel empowered and ready to take on new challenges.
Remember, if we can do it, so can you. Keep learning, keep believing, and going after your dreams.
And if you enjoyed this episode, share it with someone who needs a little inspiration or maybe a nudge in the right direction.
Help us grow this community of go-getters. Together, we can achieve greatness and get back to family.
Thanks for listening, and let's keep digging the well.